The Galactic Empire had been conquering planets for centuries. With their massive fleets, powerful weapons, and endless resources, they were the most feared force in the galaxy. Every planet they had come across had fallen to their might, each one kneeling before the Emperor's will. But there was one planet they had overlooked for years, a small blue world called Earth. The Empire had always seen Earth as insignificant. It was a primitive, undeveloped planet, stuck in its own little corner of the universe. The humans on Earth had barely left their own solar system, and to the Empire, they seemed like no more than a curiosity. However, the Empire's high command had begun to notice something troubling. Earth was different from the other planets they had conquered. It was growing rapidly in technology, and rumors spread that humans had developed weapons that could challenge even the most advanced forces in the galaxy. The Empire decided it was time to act. They sent a fleet to Earth, believing that their overwhelming strength would crush any resistance the humans could offer. But the humans were ready for them. For years, Earth's leaders had watched the Empire's rise to power from the shadows. They had studied the Empire's tactics, its technology, and its flaws. And now, they were prepared. General Mark Bishop stood before a large map of the world in a dimly lit war room, surrounded by his top advisors. The human forces had been preparing for this moment for years, quietly developing new technologies, training soldiers, and strengthening their defenses. General Bishop was no stranger to war, but even he had never imagined facing an enemy as powerful as the Galactic Empire. The entire Earth's population was about to be thrust into a war that would change the fate of the galaxy. As the Empire's fleet approached Earth, General Bishop spoke calmly but firmly to his team. "We've seen their fleets. We know what they can do, but we've got something they've never seen before. Us." He pointed at the map with a sense of confidence. "It's time to show them what humanity is capable of." The Empire's fleet arrived in Earth's orbit with a terrifying display of power. Dozens of massive warships surrounded the planet, ready to unleash their weapons. The Empire's leaders had underestimated the humans, believing they would simply surrender at the sight of their mighty ships. But they had no idea what they were up against. On Earth's surface, millions of people watched as the sky darkened with the shadows of the Empire's ships. News stations broadcasted the arrival live, and the whole world seemed to hold its breath. Fear was in the air, but so was something else, a strange feeling of unity. For the first time in human history, people from all corners of the globe put aside their differences. No longer were they just citizens of different countries. They were humans, united against a common enemy. General Bishop's voice echoed across Earth's military channels, reaching soldiers in every corner of the planet. "This is it, humanity. We've fought for this day. We've trained, we've planned, and now it's time. The Empire thinks we're weak. They think we're nothing. Show them the truth." His words sent a surge of energy through the ranks. Earth's military forces, once seen as primitive and outdated, suddenly sprang to life. Weapons long thought to be experimental were activated, and secret fleets hidden in Earth's oceans and underground bases came online. The humans had prepared for this moment. At the same time, Earth's leaders sent a message directly to the Empire's flagship. It was short, simple, and clear. "You've made a mistake. We warned you to run." The Empire, confident in its power, barely acknowledged the message. They believed that no one could stop them. They had conquered thousands of worlds, and a small, insignificant planet like Earth would be no different. They were wrong. As Earth's forces launched their first wave of defense, the Empire's ships were hit with unexpected force. Human fighters, using a combination of old-fashioned tactics and newly developed tech, swarmed the Empire's ships like bees attacking a hornet's nest. The Empire's advanced weaponry proved to be less effective than they had anticipated. The humans had adapted quickly, using their knowledge of the Empire's fleet to their advantage. The battle raged in the skies, and the humans fought with a desperation that the Empire had never seen before. Each victory, no matter how small, gave them more hope, and the Empire's ships began to retreat. General Bishop, watching from his command center, allowed himself a small smile. They thought we were weak. They thought we would surrender. But they were wrong. The Galactic Empire had underestimated Earth. They had believed that a few dozen warships could conquer a planet that had never seen a real war. But the humans were not just any species. They were survivors, and they would fight with everything they had to protect their world. And the Empire would soon learn that they had made the biggest mistake of their lives. The Empire's fleet hovered above Earth, massive ships casting shadows over the planet. Their weapons were powerful, their ships nearly invincible. The humans had made their first move, striking back with surprising strength. But the battle had only just begun. The Galactic Empire was confident that one swift strike would be enough to crush Earth's resistance. They could not have been more wrong. On Earth's surface, General Mark Bishop watched as the first wave of Empire ships descended. Their sleek, enormous vessels began to fire on Earth's cities, their weapons lighting up the sky. From their perspective, Earth was just another planet to conquer. They had no idea how wrong they were. The Empire had always relied on overwhelming force. The idea that a small, developing planet like Earth could pose a serious threat was laughable to them. They believed that humans were too scattered, too divided, to put up any real fight. But the humans had been planning for years. They had spent decades studying their enemies, developing technology in secret, and training in ways the Empire never saw coming. As the Empire launched their attack, Earth's military forces responded with an unexpected precision. The first wave of human fighters, a mix of old and new aircraft, tore through the Empire's defense lines with incredible speed. These fighters, though much smaller than the Empire's warships, were agile and fast, darting between the larger enemy ships with ease. It was a game of cat and mouse, but the humans were the ones calling the shots. Admiral Carla Vance, a key strategist in Earth's Navy, looked on from her command center as the battle unfolded. She had been waiting for this moment for years, ever since she had first learned about the Empire's plans to invade. Now, it was time to show them what humanity was capable of. "Keep them on the move," she ordered, her voice steady. "We need to keep their attention divided. If we can break their lines, we can create an opening for the rest of our fleet." Her plan was simple but effective. The human fighters would keep the Empire's ships busy, drawing their fire and keeping them distracted, while Earth's hidden fleet, stationed in underground bases and deep within the oceans, prepared to launch their counterattack. The humans had the advantage of surprise. The Empire had no idea just how well prepared Earth really was. As Earth's fighters darted between the Empire's massive ships, a few of the smaller human craft were struck down, but the rest kept moving, constantly shifting positions to avoid being hit. The Empire's larger, slower ships found it difficult to target the agile fighters, which seemed to appear and disappear out of nowhere. It was like trying to swat at flies with a hammer. Meanwhile, hidden deep below Earth's surface, Earth's secret weapon was being prepared for battle. The Titan, a massive warship built with the combined knowledge of Earth's best scientists and alien technology, was ready to make its move. The Titan had been built in secret for years, hidden away from the prying eyes of the Empire. Now, it was time to unleash it. Back in space, the battle raged on. The Empire, now realizing they were facing more resistance than they had anticipated, began to call in reinforcements. Thousands of additional ships arrived, each one more powerful than the last. It was clear the Empire wasn't prepared to lose to a planet they considered insignificant. "Prepare the Titan for launch," General Bishop commanded as he observed the battle from his command center. "It's time to give them a taste of what we've been hiding." The Titan was a game changer. It was a warship unlike anything the Empire had ever seen. With its advanced weapons and shields, it was far superior to anything the Empire could produce. The humans had been keeping it a secret, waiting for the right moment to reveal it. And now, that moment had come. As the Titan broke free from its underground base, it shot up into the sky, heading straight toward the Empire's fleet. The humans' fighters moved aside to make way for the massive ship, giving it a clear path. The Empire, seeing the enormous warship approach, panicked. They had never seen anything like it before. The first shot fired by the Titan struck an Empire ship dead center, causing a massive explosion. The blast sent shockwaves across space, shaking the Empire's fleet. The Titan wasn't just another warship. It was a force of nature. The Empire's reinforcements, which had only just arrived, quickly found themselves overwhelmed. The Titan's weapons cut through their ships like a hot knife through butter, and the human fighters continued to harass the remaining fleet, not giving the Empire a moment's peace. The humans weren't just fighting to survive anymore. They were fighting to win. As the Empire began to retreat, General Bishop's voice echoed across Earth's military channels. This is just the beginning. They're not running yet, but they will. The first clash between the Galactic Empire and Earth had not gone as the Empire had expected. They thought they were going to crush the humans in an instant, but the humans had shown them something the Empire had never encountered before: resilience, cunning, and the ability to fight back with everything they had. And the battle for Earth was far from over. The Titan had taken the Empire by surprise, but the battle was far from over. The humans had given the Empire a taste of their strength, but the Empire was not one to back down easily. They had faced countless enemies across the galaxy, and this small planet, Earth, would not be the one to defeat them. At least, that's what they believed. Back in the heart of the Empire's fleet, Commander Zikar stood at the control center of the flagship, staring out into space. His sharp, cold eyes narrowed as he observed the damage caused by the Titan. He had seen impressive technology before, but nothing like this. The humans were no longer the weak, unprepared species they had assumed. They had teeth, and now it was time to show them who was in charge. "We underestimated them," Zikar said, his voice calm but laced with frustration. "But we won't make the same mistake twice. Gather our best fleets. It's time to end this." The Empire had more ships, more firepower, and more experienced commanders than the humans could ever dream of. Zikar knew this, and he was ready to bring everything to bear. He gave the order to deploy the full might of the Empire's military forces, and the ships in the fleet began to mobilize, preparing for a counteroffensive that would leave Earth's forces in ruins. Meanwhile, on Earth, General Mark Bishop and Admiral Carla Vance were working tirelessly to prepare for the Empire's next move. The battle was already taking a toll on the planet, and the humans knew that they needed more than just clever tactics and advanced technology. They needed a plan that would keep them one step ahead of the Empire's overwhelming numbers. "I'm not going to lie to you," Bishop said, addressing his team in the war room. "We've gained ground, but this won't be easy. They're coming for us with everything they've got. We have to hold the line." Admiral Vance nodded, a determined expression on her face. "We've prepared for this. We've built our strength. And now it's time to see if it holds up under pressure. The Titan was a good start, but we'll need more than just one ship to win this war." General Bishop agreed. The Titan had made a significant impact, but the Empire had now been alerted to Earth's strength, and they would not make the same mistake again. It was time to go on the offensive. Across Earth, every nation had united to contribute their best forces to the war effort. The human soldiers, many of whom had never seen battle before, were being trained and equipped quickly. The world's best engineers and scientists worked around the clock, refining weapons and technology to give Earth the best chance of victory. The people of Earth, once divided by borders and politics, now stood together, determined to protect their home. As the Empire's fleet grew larger and more threatening, Earth's forces took their positions. The humans had learned one important lesson from the first battle. Speed and unpredictability were their best weapons. While the Empire relied on massive fleets and overwhelming force, the humans had the advantage of flexibility and quick decision-making. The first signs of the Empire's retaliation came in the form of massive fleets entering Earth's atmosphere. their warships descending from the stars with terrifying speed. The Empire was here to end the fight. The sky above Earth darkened as hundreds of enemy ships blocked out the sun. Cities around the world braced for the next wave of attacks as the sound of approaching engines filled the air. The world held its breath. General Bishop watched from the command center as the enemy ships drew closer. He had seen this kind of enemy before, but never on this scale. The Empire's ships were massive, each one capable of reducing an entire city to rubble with just one blast. The humans had already proven their strength, but they were now facing the full power of the Empire. "This is it," Bishop said, his voice steady. "Hold your ground. We've trained for this. We know what to do." Admiral Vance's voice echoed through the command center. "All units, prepare for battle. Let's show the Empire they're not the only ones who can strike fear into the hearts of their enemies." The humans' fighters took to the skies again, swarming the Empire's fleet with speed and agility. But this time, the Empire was ready. The massive warships fired their weapons, sending blasts of energy crashing through the sky. Earth's fighters dodged and weaved, evading the deadly blasts with the skill of seasoned pilots. In space, the Titan led the charge, its massive guns firing on the Empire's flagship. Each shot shook the very fabric of space itself. But the Empire was relentless. More ships arrived, and the humans' forces began to feel the pressure. They had made their stand, but the Empire's response was swift and overwhelming. "This is not the end," General Bishop said, looking out at the chaos. "We've only just begun to fight." The first wave of the Empire's retaliation had begun, and the battle was far from over. But the humans were not afraid. They had already shown the Empire what they were capable of, and now it was time to prove that they would never surrender. The Empire had made a dangerous mistake, and it was one that they would soon regret. The Empire's relentless counteroffensive had taken a toll on Earth's forces. Cities had been struck, and Earth's military was stretched thin, but they had not faltered. The humans had faced the Empire's full might and survived. And now, with the Empire's fleet still hanging in Earth's skies, the time had come for the humans to take the next step, fighting not just to survive, but to win. General Mark Bishop stood before a large map of Earth's defenses, staring at the positions of the Empire's ships. The map was filled with red dots, indicating the strength of the enemy's fleet. His face was grim, but there was a fire in his eyes. The first battle had been a shock to both sides, but now the humans knew they had to fight smarter, not harder. "We've held them off so far," General Bishop said to his team. "But we need to do more than just hold the line. We need to push them back, show them that Earth won't be crushed." Admiral Carla Vance nodded in agreement. "We've got something they don't have, unity. The Empire has the numbers, but they're slow. We need to keep them guessing, keep them from focusing on one spot. We'll spread them thin." Across the globe, Earth's military forces were preparing for the next phase of the war. The humans had learned much from their encounters with the Empire. They had seen the weaknesses in the Empire's tactics, how their massive warships relied on overwhelming force and had trouble adjusting to smaller, more agile targets. The humans had developed a strategy that would use their agility to their advantage. Meanwhile, on the Empire's flagship, Commander Zikar was watching the humans' movements carefully. The humans' resistance was stronger than he had expected, and it was beginning to frustrate him. His ships had dealt significant damage to Earth's cities, but they hadn't broken the human spirit. He couldn't understand why they kept fighting. "What are they planning?" Zikar muttered to himself, his gaze fixed on the holographic display. The humans' fleet had split into smaller units, and they were moving quickly, staying in constant motion. "They're not attacking head-on. They're trying to wear us out." Zikar gave the order to tighten the Empire's grip around Earth, but he knew that the humans weren't giving up without a fight. It was becoming clear that the human strategy was working. They were using their speed and surprise to keep the Empire on edge. As the Empire's forces closed in, Earth's fleets moved into position. The humans weren't just on the defensive anymore. They were ready to strike back. They had learned how to read the Empire's movements, anticipating their attacks and staying one step ahead. The first move came when a small fleet of human fighters flew low over Earth's atmosphere, dodging Empire fire and drawing the enemy ships toward them. The Empire took the bait, sending more and more ships to chase the fast-moving fighters. But this was exactly what the humans wanted. Back at Earth's command center, General Bishop watched as the battle unfolded. "Now," he said, his voice full of anticipation, "initiate the next phase." Hidden in Earth's orbit was a second fleet, a powerful group of warships that had been waiting for the right moment. These ships, though heavily damaged during previous skirmishes, were still dangerous. As the Empire's forces focused on the decoy fleet, the humans' hidden ships launched a surprise attack from behind. With deadly precision, the hidden fleet struck the Empire's ships from all directions. The surprise attack caught the Empire off guard, and the first few ships were destroyed in a series of powerful blasts. The Empire's forces scrambled to defend themselves, but the humans had already anticipated this. "This is how we win," Bishop muttered, watching the chaos unfold on the screen. The Empire's fleet was in disarray, struggling to fight on multiple fronts. "We won't give them time to regroup." The tide of the battle had begun to shift. The Empire, once so confident in their strength, now found themselves struggling to maintain control of the situation. The humans had managed to break through their lines, striking where they least expected it. The first signs of defeat were starting to show on the Empire's faces. Meanwhile, on Earth's surface, people watched the skies with a mix of fear and hope. The war had changed everything. Cities had been destroyed, lives had been lost, but humanity was not giving up. People from all over the world were now united in a way they never had been before. The sight of Earth's forces pushing back against the mighty Empire was a symbol of their resilience. "This is our fight," Admiral Vance said, watching the battle unfold from the command center. "We've come too far to back down now." Across the world, the human forces pressed on. While the Empire's fleet regrouped and attempted to launch a counterattack, the humans stayed on the move, using their speed and unpredictability to keep the Empire's massive ships at bay. The war was far from over, but the humans had proven one thing: they could fight, and they were not going to let the Empire destroy their world without a fight. As the sun set over Earth, the light of the battle above flickered like a distant storm. The humans had shown the Empire that they were not as weak as the invaders had thought. They had warned the Empire to run, but now it was clear that the Empire might not be able to escape at all. The war was far from over, but the Empire was starting to feel the pressure. Despite their superior numbers and firepower, they had underestimated the resilience of the humans. The battle above Earth had raged for days, but now there was a shift. The Empire's forces, once overwhelming, were now struggling to hold on to their dominance. General Mark Bishop stood at the command center, his hands gripping the edges of a table as he studied the latest reports. The human forces had pushed back the Empire's first wave, but they knew that this was only the beginning. The Empire had vast fleets still waiting in the distance, ready to strike again. "We've shown them that we're not going down without a fight," Bishop said, his voice steady but filled with determination. "But this isn't over. They'll be back with everything they've got." Admiral Carla Vance nodded in agreement. "We need to be ready. If we want to win, we have to keep the pressure on them. We can't give them time to recover." The battle was not just in the sky. On Earth's surface, soldiers were working tirelessly to prepare for a possible invasion. The cities were fortified, and the human population was united like never before. People from every corner of the world had come together, each person playing a part in the war effort. In the depths of Earth's underground bunkers, scientists and engineers were developing new technologies to give the humans an edge. They had already used their ingenuity to adapt to the Empire's attacks, but now they needed something more, something that could turn the tide for good. "We need to fight smart," Not just hard, said Dr. Emma Collins, one of Earth's lead scientists. We can't keep relying on our limited resources. We need something that will give us an advantage, something the Empire doesn't expect. Dr. Collins and her team had been working on a new weapon, a special type of energy shield that could protect Earth's cities from the Empire's advanced weaponry. It wasn't perfect yet, but they were close. Meanwhile, Commander Zakar, the leader of the Empire's forces, paced back and forth on his flagship, watching the battle unfold. His ships were taking heavy damage, and he could see that the humans were far more resourceful than he had expected. He had underestimated them, and now it was too late to change his tactics. Send the next wave, Zakar ordered, his voice cold and commanding. We need to crush them now. We can't let them regroup. Zakar knew that the humans were running out of time. Their defenses were becoming more formidable, and every day that passed, they grew stronger. If the Empire didn't crush them soon, it would be too late. The humans had proven that they could fight back, and now the Empire's pride was on the line. Back on Earth, the human forces were ready. Their fighters and warships were positioned, waiting for the next wave of the Empire's assault. General Bishop knew that this would be the critical moment. The humans had to hold their ground, not just for themselves, but for the entire planet. We've come this far, Bishop said to his officers, his voice steady but filled with purpose. Now we fight for Earth's survival. We fight for our future. The next wave came sooner than expected. The Empire's fleet, larger and more powerful than before, descended on Earth with a terrifying force. But this time, the humans were ready. They had a plan, one that they hoped would give them the upper hand. Admiral Vance watched as the Empire's ships approached, her face hardening with resolve. Deploy the new shields, she ordered. As the human fleet opened fire, the new energy shields activated around Earth's major cities. For the first time, the Empire's weapons collided with the force field, only to be deflected with a powerful shockwave. The Empire's ships faltered, their weapons ineffective against the human defenses. What? Zakar shouted in disbelief as he watched his weapons fail. How is this possible? The humans had done the impossible. They had created a defense that could withstand the Empire's most powerful attacks. But it was more than just the shields. The human fleet, now reinforced with the latest technology and tactics, struck with precision. The Empire's forces were caught off guard once again. It's working, General Bishop exclaimed as the human forces gained the upper hand. We've got them on the run. The Empire's fleet began to retreat, their ships scattering in all directions as they attempted to regroup. The humans, emboldened by their success, pressed forward. The tide of the battle had turned, and for the first time, the Empire was on the defensive. We warned them to run, Admiral Vance said, a smile tugging at the corner of her lips. But now they know we weren't kidding. The humans had done the impossible. They had not only survived the Empire's attacks, but they had also turned the tables. The battle for Earth was far from over, but now, for the first time, the Empire knew that they were not facing an easy victory. As the battle raged on in the skies, people on Earth looked up, their hearts filled with hope. The Empire had underestimated them, and now they were paying the price. The war was far from over, but the humans had proven one thing. They would not go down without a fight. And they had the strength, the will, and the technology to see it through to the end. The final battle had arrived. The atmosphere around Earth was filled with a tense, electric charge. Both the human and Empire fleets had suffered enormous losses, but there was still one last chance to end this war. General Mark Bishop stood at the war room, eyes fixed on the map that displayed the remnants of the Empire's fleet. We've pushed them back before, but this time, we ended, Bishop said, his voice steady but filled with determination. Admiral Carla Vance nodded. We've come a long way. This is our chance to show the Empire we won't back down. On Earth's surface, people watched the skies, the tension in the air palpable. The battle in space was now mirrored by the fear of what might happen to their world. Still, There was a spark of hope in their hearts, hope that the humans could win this war and send a message to the galaxy that Earth was not a place to be taken lightly. On the Empire's flagship, Commander Zikar looked out at the humans' remaining forces. His ships were damaged, but he had one final weapon at his disposal, a weapon so powerful it could wipe out entire cities. His hands tightened around the control panel. "We've failed so far, but this is our last chance," Zikar said coldly. "Launch the planetary weapon. This will be the end of their resistance." But as he prepared to give the order, something unexpected happened. The communications officer, who had been monitoring the human fleet, turned to him, eyes wide with disbelief. "Commander, the humans. They're launching a counterattack." Zikar blinked, confused. How could they still have forces to launch another attack? But as he looked at the holographic screen, he saw it, a new fleet of human ships coming out of warp, more advanced than anything they had seen before. It was the culmination of every last resource the humans had pooled together. A new fleet built from their most advanced ships, including the new models that had been created using alien technology they had gathered over the past months. General Bishop looked up as his fleet gathered in formation. The human ships had been reinforced with the new designs, and they were ready. His voice came over the comms, calm but commanding. "This is our final stand. Everyone, give everything you've got. We've proven we can win. Let's finish this." As the human ships charged forward, the Empire's remaining fleet tried to retaliate, but it was clear that the humans were no longer the underdogs. They were now the predators, and the Empire had become the prey. Their ships were slower, their shields weaker, and their weapons less effective against the new human fleet. The sky lit up with explosions as both sides exchanged fire, but it was the humans who took the lead. Every attack was more precise, every ship moving as one, coordinated in a way the Empire's forces had never been able to achieve. The humans had become a force to be reckoned with. Admiral Vance stood at the bridge of her flagship, watching as the Empire's fleet slowly began to crumble. "They're falling apart," she said with a smile. "We can do this." But Zikar was not ready to give up just yet. He ordered the launch of the planetary weapon, hoping that one strike would turn the tide. A beam of light shot from the flagship's weapon systems, aiming straight for Earth. Bishop's heart raced as he saw the beam coming. He knew this was it. They had to stop it, or Earth would be lost. "We need to take that weapon out now," Bishop shouted. "Fire everything we've got." A volley of human missiles shot forward, striking the weapon before it could fully charge. A bright explosion lit up the sky, and the planetary weapon was destroyed, its power fizzling out. Zikar stared in disbelief as his weapon was destroyed. His fleet was losing, and there was nothing left to stop the humans now. His ships were too damaged, their morale shattered. The humans were everywhere, striking from all sides, and there was no way to regroup. "We can't win this," Zikar muttered to himself. The remaining Empire ships, now disorganized and disheartened, began to retreat. The human forces didn't give chase. They had already won. The Empire had been beaten, and Earth had been saved. Back on Earth, the celebrations had begun. People crowded the streets, cheering, waving flags, and hugging one another. The human race had done the impossible. They had defeated the Empire and protected their world. General Bishop and Admiral Vance stood on the balcony of Earth's command center, looking out at the scene before them. "We did it," Vance said, a smile on her face. Bishop nodded. "We didn't just save Earth. We showed the galaxy that we will never be slaves to anyone. The Empire learned the hard way that they should have listened when we warned them to run." The Earth had been protected, not just by force, but by the spirit of humanity. Unbreakable, fierce, and determined to survive. As the Empire's remaining forces drifted into the unknown, their defeat echoed throughout the galaxy. The message had been sent. Earth was no longer just a small planet at the edge of the galaxy. It was a force to be reckoned with. Humanity had won, and they would never back down again.